I'm going to have my say next. And, folks, I tell you, you just got to laugh. Meghan Markle has found some ancient ancestry to Nigeria. She's something 30-odd% or something, apparently, Nigerian. You know, I went through my ancestry during lockdown when we all had, well, self-isolation, enforced isolation in our homes. And I found out that I have Irish ancestry. So I say to the Irish, I'm going to turn up tomorrow in Ireland and declare that I'm home. Welcome back. Because that's exactly what Meghan Markle's done. She's made her entire identity to score some points on the old diversity checklist now about Nigeria. She thanked them for welcoming her home. Now, some genealogists actually suggest that she might be Ghanaian, and the Sussex-loving press are absolutely lapping it up. I think it's extraordinary.
And I don't think it's extraordinary at all. No, you don't understand African-American culture in that sense, because it's a really big thing for black people in the New World, so people who would have gone to America and the Caribbean as slaves initially and who are now, descended from slaves, to find out what their ancestry is and then go back to that place and feel like they are from somewhere, because these people, they can't track their ancestry back more than 100 years. They don't even have their own family name. Now, I'm of African descent. That is not my experience. It's completely different. But I think for you to say it's outrageous that Meghan's gone to Nigeria and she says she's gone home, that is something that a lot of African Americans do and a lot of black Caribbeans do. And would you seriously say to them it's stupid for them to go to Africa and feel like they're at home?
No, but Meghan Markle...
Yes, I would say that.
Why?
You just told us every week on week that multiculturalism has been...
This has nothing to do with multiculturalism.
Well, how is it...
What's this got to do with multiculturalism?
To turn up somewhere and say,
I'm
home.
No, what are you talking about, Darren? It's the same as when Americans, Europeans come back to Europe, Britain, Scotland, like Donald Trump goes to Scotland and says, I'm Scottish, I'm home. It's exactly the same.
No one does that.
And yet when Donald Trump does that and talks about his link to this country, you say, oh, it's a great thing.
I criticise Joe Biden.
When it's Meghan Markle,
will you let me actually
you say
speak,
no.
Albie?
Oh, she's being woke.
Joe Biden.
Diversity.
Oh, my God. Will you let me speak?
Hashtag DNI.
Joe Biden turned up in Ireland and declared he was home. And guess what? I criticised him then. He's an elderly white man, so how dare you try and make out that I'm somehow being some kind of bigot, as you just implied. You're definitely trying to imply that. As
I said you're being silly.
You are a race baiter.
You're being silly. You're being silly.
What do you think, actually, Meghan Markle is once again trying to make something all about her?
Yeah, I mean, she's an attention seeker.
They said she's a warrior princess.
Yeah, well, goodness. A
warrior princess.
Well, but, you know, look, there is a point of Americans not wanting to appear to be from the country that they're actually from. They all go, oh, I'm Irish, I'm Scottish, I'm this. They're never English, which, despite the fact that the vast majority of the immigrants who went to America were actually English, funnily enough. But, you know, there's two things that are striking to me. First of all, she's all of a sudden discovered this. Yeah. I mean, she could have spoken to her mother and maybe her grandmother.
That's how she found out.
Well, but she just found out today. She just found out today, Albie.
No,
come on.
No.
So she's making this statement today.
By the way, it's disputed that the Nigerian links are there. Well, yeah, Ghana. There's a whole, so it could be
the countries are very close to each other.
John would say, "Well, is the records? Like we need to see some evidence." But you know, this is typical Meghan. It's not about Harry ever, is it? Even though you know he's the actual person doing this royal tour for his Commonwealth Games of the Invictus Games, which he's been a big supporter of and started it in the first place. So this should be about Harry going there and building those relationships, and Meghan's taken the story and made it all about herself.
Aren't they opening a Archwell building or branch in Nigeria?
And they're doing well. They're focusing massively at the minute on the Invictus Games, which I think is a really worthwhile cause.
Hang on, are they doing that Archwell branch in Nigeria? I've heard they are, which sounds very reminiscent of the Clintons going into Haiti. And I'm not going to get involved in it now, but
Royals opening a charity in Nigeria. How terrible!
Do you associate it with? It strikes me that it has all of the prerequisites of being a royal tour. Right? They're turning up, they're opening these ventures, they were greeted by officials at the airport. Sure. It strikes me that they want to be royals without actually being royals in the working sense.
Well, I mean, she's just using her media pulling power, isn't she, to get a focus on it. I mean, this actually reminds me very much of that conversation about birth certificates proving whether you actually were the president of the US. Do you remember that with Obama? It's like, how can you possibly know anything about Meghan's genealogy apart from the only person that knows that is her and the people she's consulted about it?
Well, evidently not, given that it was only the other day that she found this out.
It wasn't.
Yeah, but it wasn't only the other day. She obviously has known elements of where she's from for years.
Not. She would have made absolutely everything.
I remember reading about it at the time. It wasn't the other day.
I don't agree with you, I'm afraid.
But do you understand what it means for the descendants of slaves to realise where they come from and then go to that place where they came from?
You could say that about absolutely everything.
No. I'm not speaking about. I'm asking about. No. That's not the point.
Irish ancestry.
Darren, that's not the point.
Darren,
that's not the. Are you being deliberately obtuse?
300 years ago, do you know how it feels to have been?
Are you being deliberately obtuse?
No, I don't.
I think you are.
It's a silly argument.
It's not a silly argument. I'm asking if you understand or not, and you don't. So just say no.
Do I understand what it's like to be a slave?
No, I said that's not what I said. That isn't what I said. That isn't what I said.
But Darren, can you trace your surname back 500 years?
I can trace it back about
right.
that, yeah.
Right. So if you're descended from, if you were a slave and you were, kept by a slave owner, then your surname isn't your name, and you can never find out. Some people never find out. I have some good friends who are Nigerian, and that's the thing they talk to me about all the time. But they just don't know what their actual name is.
Can I ask? Because I don't know. Because I'm ignorant to it. Why would you care anyway?
Because it gives you a sense of place, purpose, knowing where you're coming from, identity. It's important.
All right.